Yeah, thank you very much. I was listening to Mr. Daniel Buala, especially where he said that the people coming together had no idea of what they were doing and had nothing to offer the country. I just laughed and said, just about 2 years ago, he was arguing that Atiku was the best thing to happen to the country, believing he was the best of all the packs. And within a short space of 2 years, he had turned 360 degrees. And all I could say to myself was, thank God I'm not a politician. Coming back to the ADC, let me start by giving them credit because yeah, they seem to have deployed a strategy of what you can call decoy. It seems that the government of the day was kept deliberately in the dark of their moves, knowing that there will be all efforts at torpedoing whatever they plan to do. So severally, we read in the newspapers, coalition hits a rock, and suddenly they came with this idea of ADC. It's still not Uhuru for them, but I think to the extent that they're able to get to this level, I think we should also give them credit. And when you look at the people behind this ADC, some people call it maybe hostile takeover. The people behind them, you look at David Mark, he was one of the key executioners of Babangida coup, a retired brigadier general, the longest serving senior president in the country, served for 8 years, a former governor of Niger State. At 77, there's nothing you can use to frighten him. Arebo Shola is credited with being the brain behind that Tinubu losing Osun State. Then you look at P2B, don't be deceived by his tiny voice and his gentle mien. His nickname is Okute, that means rock. As governor of Anambra State, he restored and neutralized the political godfathers. You look at El-Rufai, you may not like him. Yeah, I agree, he's a very, very polarizing figure. But nobody can dismiss the fact that he's a man of tremendous courage and a man of technocratic skills. Rotimi Amechi fought Jonathan government to a standstill. So these are people who are also tested. Um, of course, they know it's not Uhuru because we're already seeing, a replay of the Arabambi and Lamidi Apapa scenario. We started reading about Dumebi Kachuku, who ran as the presidential candidate of the ADC in 2023, saying that he was going to go to court. I mean, this can be expected. This is the only thing that can give him a headline. He came from nowhere, became ADC presidential candidate. And I'm sorry to say this, for what seems to be essentially an ego trip. I'm not sure he even got more than a handful of votes in his polling unit. Now he has come back now to say that he was going to court, he's against any takeover of his party. And then I'm sure the APC and the government of the day will be very happy to oxygenate and amplify his narrative. So but I do believe that the people behind the ADC, the new people, they are not unaware of the fact that it's not going to be an easy victory. So in the coming days and coming months, we are going to be watching out for the hide and seek game between the two camps, between the camps of the government of the day and those supporting the coalition.
Really, the same question, but in a different way, zeroing in on one of the key actors in this coalition, and that would be the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi. He had said that the only coalition that he's involved in is the one against hunger, poverty, starvation. But we see him now as a key figure in this coalition. What are your thoughts on what this may do to his cult following because of the concern about the many big egos in the room? Should he specifically now take up vice presidential role in the presentation of the key officers, that would be the candidate and the VP in 2027 for this ADC SPV? Mr. Pele, that's for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we're watching a political melodramatic performance by politicians in Nigeria. Talking about P2B, I think he needs to watch it because he gathered momentum and created an incredible coalition or political movement that especially the youth demography in Nigeria embraced. He needs to be very careful. I look at him as one who is between the rock and the hard place. Uh, I don't know if it will be wise on his part to take on the role of a vice president or even a presidential candidate in the emerging political scenario, which is the more or less like a convergence of all the political bigwigs in Nigeria into one new political entity. We don't know what the outcome will look like. The politics of money still plays role in Nigeria. Anyone with the deepest pocket would find his way to the echelon of leadership. And so that said, Peter Obi needs to watch it. The obedient movement is not as strong as what, by my own recording, is not as strong as what it used to be. There is infiltrators on the part of either the current ruling party or the oppositions around it. So one wrong move would take away all his political dividends and accolades, and so he needs to watch it. I don't know where he's going to. Peter Obi seems to be somebody who have discovered that he has gathered political momentum and may not want to become a second fiddle, a situation where if he takes to that, he may lose the huge following, especially within the youth demography. So it's neither here nor there. As the day goes by, we watch the outcome of what I see as political theater, which Nigeria is fast becoming. And we're losing grip on the tenets of democracy. Our democratic values are being challenged, and we don't seem to have a clear-cut visionary direction. And that is something that is very worrisome as not just watchers of our political emergence in the country, but one who is deeply involved. My organization has been providing very strong support to a number of political institutions. And so it's something that really gives us a lot to write home about, knowing fully well that we're simply playing to the gallery when it comes to democratic excellence.
Prof, let's come back to you because it's a two-part conversation. One is what we're talking about, the coalition, and then we'll head to what's playing out in Rivers. But let's stay with the issue of the coalition for a bit. And that has to do with what you think is the thinking in the room as far as that, because there are so many, these are different people. It's an amalgamation of interests. So they want to condense it into one. And when politicians are looking at elections, politicians don't see elections like the average Nigerian sees elections. So the average Nigerian, from my thinking, looks at who is the most suitable candidate that can give us the dividend of democracy, good governance, and all the many things we've always asked for many years. But the politicians don't start from there. They start from who can win the election. So I give you a scenario. In the bank, 6.9 million votes is what Atiku is bringing to the table. In the bank, 6.1 million votes is what Peter Obi is bringing to the table. In the bank, South-South and Southeast was won by Peter Obi. In the bank, Northeast was the place that Atiku Abubakar won. So I just gave these numerics just as a background to what you feel should be the thinking in the room if they have a chance to challenge, not participate in 2027, but contend power with Bola Tinubu in 2027. Prof.
I don't think, even if they have such a strategy, if such conversations are going on now, I don't think they will let it out. And I think it's actually very premature for some of us to start looking at such permutations. You're right. Today, I don't think there is any politician from, that has as much charisma, at least from the southern part of this country, or south, and southeast, more than P2B. So he's his own bargaining chip. And it's obvious that he's making inroads into other places. And then there is also the issue of rotation of presidency. So there are so many things they have to take into consideration. And of course, the fact that some people have been, people like Atiku Abubakar who say, I have no, age is not on my side. So we watch out and see. During the APC arrangement, people thought that the arrangement was going to implode on the basis of sharing of who will be the top and who will be the bottom of the ticket. It didn't, I mean, they managed to overcome that hurdle. There are always extenuating circumstances we have to watch out. And I don't think we have already arrived at that. They are both looking at the moves and counter moves. And who says that this ADC may not even be a decoy? Don't forget that they started by SDP when El-Rufai moved into the SDP. And I remember it was in this studio that I said that El-Rufai acted too emotionally and that he showed his hand too early. Now the SDP was no longer seen as a credible vehicle, or even if it was just meant to be flying a kite. And they are talking about ADC. It is also possible that there may be more than one coalition coming out of this. And a kind of an arrangement will be reached towards the election. And all permutations are on the table. And I believe that all the key players in that conversation, they have their options B, option C. And that they are not sure, none of them, I believe, politicians hardly show all their hands. So it's, we shouldn't be at this time worried or talking about who gets the top and who doesn't get, because the government is also dependent on how much the government's response, the APC's response to these moves. And by the time we get to a certain stage, and probably there is a reverse migration of people moving from APC, if the ADC manages to make itself credible, then there's bound to be reverse migration, which will be self-perpetuating. And once that happens, as happened with the APC, it becomes actually clear, it will become self-evident on where the direction, who probably will be given the ticket. But right now, things are still in a state of flux. And you can see people like Governor Oti saying, look, I remain in Labour Party. And everybody is very, very careful to see the direction, the moves and counter moves. And as Pella said, it's a political theater, and we have to watch it and see the direction. We have to properly get the storyline and be able to predict how the story will, pan out.
And you're right on the money, Prof. The storyline is still evolving. Let's go to another political theater now. And it's curious that the pendulum, swings to you, Mr. Pele, your own home state. Many have been talking about the conditions or the reports of the conditions given for the restoration of democratic institutions in Rivers State as being too steep and causing the suspended governor to lose too much of his political leverage. From where you stand, Mr. Pele, didn't the president have the knife and the yam, and then suspended Governor Fubara had no choice but to bow?
Bukola, your analysis is on point, and a bit disturbing for many of us who are citizens of the state and who my focus has always been on the people, not the persons within the political compound in River State. And yes, the troubling situation and the scenario as it plays out is the fact that none of us have been able to obtain even the most versatile and revered journalists in the country have not been able to unveil the actual condition that were given to Fubara. We've been seeing speculations, and unfortunately, Even my kinsman, Fubara, who is in the eye of the storm, have not been able to clarify what exactly are the conditions that he was giving. They seems to be playing it close to their chest, what the actual conditions are. It's very intriguing to me, even as I've been analyzing the situation in Rivers State. I have not been able to dissect the actual conditions that we're giving, you know. However, it's indeed troubling for many of Fubara's followers that have not been able to actually know, even when some of them have met with him, the details of the conditions. But going by what we are hearing, what is making round, either in the social media or the mainstream media, the fact that one, he was told he wasn't going to contest for the position of governor in 2027. Nobody knows whether it's true, absolutely true, or false. The other thing about giving the whole 23 local government chairmanship to Yosom Wike, I don't know whether he's going to divide himself into 23 and contest for all the local government chairman position, you know, or whether he would enthuse himself into all his cronies who would then contest, and then he would sit as the more or less like the one who controls everybody from a single position, you know. So there is no clarity in terms of what was actually given to Fubara to execute. If going by what we know, if it takes to that, then he will be a lame dog governor, because definitely everybody that is being either sponsored or pushed by the FCT minister will be loyal to him and not loyal to the governor. So I don't know what kind of governor he would turn out to be in the remaining 2 years, and what his political future will look like going forward. And I can tell you, if truly and really he signed into all the conditions that we're hearing, then he has really committed political suicide, because I don't see him moving forward politically. Although Fubara that I know is not desperate about anything. He just wants his peace, and that's it. But the focus here, Bukola, is not Fubara, is the office that he occupies. What matters to me, and I've said it, and I've become a crying analyst, and I make no apologies, because my heart goes for the people. I stand first for the people of Rivers State. We are the one that is bearing the brunt. It's like 3 elephants now are fighting for the soul of Rivers State: the president, FCT minister, and the Fubara himself, as well as, in fact, 4, as well as the assembly, the lawmakers, the now celebrated 27 lawmakers, who seems to be laughing and, you know, taking their political scores to the bank. Fantastic analysis by Geoffrey when he was reeling out the data and then telling us where he was throwing the data into the bank. However, it's a very concerning situation. And for heaven's sake, thank God I have the opportunity to be on national television. Please, the time has come for these politicians to leave Rivers people alone. We've suffered so much. The level of injustice, the slap on our face, the treatment as if we don't matter, yet we provide succor for the economy of the country. We make the State House what it is by the oil money, which comes from this same River State that they are toying with. Unfortunately, some of the Rivers indigene are the one behind this very unkind treatment.
Mr. Pele,
of Rivers State.
Let's take it to Prof. Prof, you're not from Rivers, but you watch the space closely. And some, as Bukola said, some are saying the governor has lost leverage to the point of surrender, that it wasn't a reconciliation. In fact, that was further amplified when he met with the support base and said, look, for those of you who are thinking about local government chairmanship, forget it. One wonders if you are a supporter of the governor, for instance, politicians is about interest. And then maybe the boys were thinking, now that you've reconciled, what is there for us? And you come and tell them, well, if those of you who are looking at local government, think again. I don't know what support is going to get from that. So there are three things I want to point out that I want you to speak to on this issue of Fubara and Wike and the soul of Rivers politics. One, the argument about local government structure. Clearly, with the remarks of the governor, that seemed to have been out of his control. We don't know what it is with the second term. We can only just guess. The issue about state resource management and control, that we will never get to know until we get to know. So my question is, if you want to hazard a guess based on what the resolution was in 2023, where the governor had to do 7 of the 8 things that was part of the resolution, the assembly members were to do 1. What do you think is the main thing that the governor had to kind of surrender and agree to for this piece to be what it is, or arrive to where it is right now, this fragile piece? And can you hazard a guess to the fact that you will even have a second term? I'm talking about his political future here.
Yeah, thank you very much. There are 2 perspectives on this. First of all, is he stooping down to conquer? Or is he proving that actually he was a nymph? He was actually chosen to be governor precisely because he had no nerves. This is what we have to know. It's very remarkable that all the people that supported him, some staking out their necks, he literally threw them under the bus. We don't know if eventually he does something dramatic, let's say after everything normalizes and he decides to resign in protest, then people will start looking at it in a different way. But I agree, it is about that office, not about Fubara. It's also a statement. However he manages the crisis is a statement. This is a guy who came out and said, at a point, the jungle had matured, meaning he was ready to put up a fight. If you believe on a principle, you fight. Even if you lose fighting, then at least, it will be established that you are fighting for your principle and that the outcome was not what you wanted. But to just acquiesce the way he seems to have done, we don't know the details, it's something that leaves sour taste in the mouth of many people who showed sympathy for him. And if I were also the people that were being mentioned as the godfathers, I will also have to think of power is very transient. When this is all over, how will the people of my state remember me? And then for the center, the President Tinubu that was trying to broker the peace, we will also have to ask what is his own interest. Obviously, with what we believe is happening in the North, with the North said to be withdrawing, I say allegedly withdrawing its support for the presidency, we believe if that hypothesis is true, we believe then he was beginning to try to think of rethinking his political geography. So to create a constituency of support in Rivers, and that means giving the structure, if you control the local government chairman, then it means essentially then you get the votes because, Nigerian system, if you want to manipulate the votes, you start it from that grassroots. If that actually is the thinking of the government or the president, again, is only a speculation. If that actually is the truth, what if it doesn't work out? How will the people of that area remember you? And even people that are decamping now do not take their words on television to be the truth. We make a distinction between public and private morality. When you've hurt people, if they feel you have humiliated them, they have a way of taking a revenge in an asymmetric manner. They cannot come and confront you, but they will do it in their own ways. So I think what is happening, is actually unfortunate, because in a civilian dispensation, we have a sole administrator, ruling by fiat. And I think for me, I agree, it's a slap, it's a humiliation to the people of Rivers State. And I thought, many lawyers have argued that it's unconstitutional, and I thought the president, with many people were also speculating, May 29 will be the time to reinstate him, and then, or June 12. At the same time now, even people that originally were supporting Fubara were beginning to think, oh, this man doesn't even have a backbone. So we are now back to a situation where the issue is about the Rivers people, not necessarily about people looking at 2027, about people trying to massage their ego by showing that, look, I have won this political battle. It is, I agree, going to be about the people of the Rivers. It is going to being about the goose that lays the golden egg.
And so there are more lessons that we may need to reflect on, and I want them to come from you, Mr. Pele, this time around, on our democratic value. We heard in the President's Democracy Day address where he said if the opposition thinks that he would intervene in their political crisis, then they have something else coming. But we see his intervention in the Rivers case. So what's different about Rivers case? Why did a sitting president of the ruling party need to intervene in the political crisis in the opposition in Rivers State? Mr. Pele, that's for you.
Well, Bukola, I am a little bit circumspect when I look at the president, what he's saying, and his body language. And the most troubling aspect of the demeanor of Mr. President is the fact that he was yesterday seen as a fighter and defender of democracy. And today, he seems to be towing what may look like a different cause, sometimes not taking into cognizance whether he is actually pursuing the values of democracy. And I want to be very objective here. It's unfortunate the way things are playing, and what it will portend politically, again, for the people of Rivers State, and the outcome of what is being done. So, succinctly put, Bukala, it seems to me that what is playing out is very much looking like a state capture. Capture the state, make sure that you breathe on the neck of the people, and ensure that the state will go to the ruling party at the end of the day. Well, there are better ways to do that and still get it in a democratic way. And that is find out if the people that you think knows the state, has the political machinery, whether they have actually won the heart of the people, and that's one thing that is concerning to me about Fubara. This was a political rising star. He emerged as a rock star artist, political artist, and garnered a lot of support. Fubara, if you put Fubara maybe yesterday and put Wike, and in a free and fair election, Fubara will flood Wike. But I don't know whether that is still the case today, because he had a lot of political momentum. He had a lot of support. And I'm telling you, grassroots support. The youths were out for him. Women were out for him. And all of a sudden, he started by what we described initially as political statement. My spirit have left government house, blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, he's narrowing down his support. And like Prof said, it seems to me, I may not be very clear on this, that all the people who supported him has been thrown under the bus. But nobody knows because these politicians are strategists par excellence. So nobody knows. There's a possibility that all the people you see, because none of them, they are no longer talking. Okay. They probably must have been settled, or he's working with them remotely, you know. But bottom line, like I said, my heart goes out for my people. Okay. We are the one that will suffer the most. But a lot of things will change because power belongs to the people. Okay. And the way things are playing out, they can still take the money, which I don't advise. Do not do it. You know, they can still take their money and vote their conscience. But I don't know how that will play out because no matter how much you try to struggle, if you take the money of the people or somebody, okay, you are bound by obligation, you know, at least of morality that looks like immorality. All right, Mr. Pele, because of time, we're totally,
thank you for your thoughts. We're totally out of time. That means, you know, when we talk about these things, the more we talk about it, feels like the more there's more to be said. So let's watch the coming days. I must thank you both, Jacob Pele, CEO and founder of TAF Africa, for denying yourself sleep and joining us from the U.S. Thank you, sir. Professor Jideofor Adibe is a professor of political science and international relations from Nasarawa State University in Kefi. Thank you, sir, as well, for joining us from our Abuja studios. Thank you. All right, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we douse things down away from the hard talk around politics and politicking to zooming in on Nollywood in just a moment. Stay with us.